Hey, what the hell's going on? How are you? My name is Nick. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Please check out my Patreon page and all that cool stuff. The Patreon page is a great way to donate, give me some dough. All the podcasts that I do, I got 2 of them, and the videos that I cut, all that cool stuff that I do. All for free, all for you for free. So if you can donate some money, become a patron, make little monthly donations. Helps a lot. Truly, it helps a lot. So patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Please donate some dough. That'd be awesome. So thank you for checking out my channel here. And check out my podcast, The Nick D Podcast. Every Tuesday, every Friday, new episodes, a pop culture podcast with a lot of interviews and entertainment and lifestyle stuff with me and Esmeralda Leon, who's my co-host. And we review movies, and we talk TV, and we talk music. Everything pop culture and entertainment related, it's there. And then every Wednesday, a new episode of That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, an SNL podcast. That drops. These are all at radiomisfits.com. That's a podcast network, and they are available on every platform that you can possibly imagine. The Nick D Podcast, That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years. 2 cool podcasts that you need to check out, and they're free, which is why you should give at patreon.com/NickDShow. Okay. Man, nice fucking hair. Do you know actually I go out in public looking like this? Looking like this. It's insane. It's just insane. It's incredible that I have not been arrested just on sheer ugliness. It's unbelievable. Look at this fucking hair. I get a haircut, okay, and then it looks good for about a week. Nothing about this ever looks good. You know what I mean? Nothing. I can't do anything to make this look good. But every once in a while, I'll get a haircut and I don't look completely fucking ridiculous like I do now. Look at this. Look at that. This is I go to public. I go out in public and I ask for help from people who work in retail or at grocery stores. And then they look at me and go, "You need help with your fucking hair and that face." So anyway, I've just gotten a look at my hair. Oh my God. Anyway, so hi. Here's the deal. Opening up this Friday is the new John Wick movie. John Wick Chapter 4, which, oddly, is the 4th part of the John Wick movies. It's the 4th in the series, so it's Chapter 4. Now, I'm not going to get into, the plot of the John Wick movies and how complicated they get and all of the extras and the subplots and all the characters and the whole plot about this assassination bureau and the high table and this character tied into that character, and there's this subplot, and there's all of these threads that are tied together within this world that is created in the John Wick universe that consists of double crosses and this society and that society and who did this to what and whose relationship is what to what. Here's the deal. All of that stuff, the plot threads, the whole mythology, the hierarchy, the table, the continental, all the stuff that goes into the very, very complicated and really, really sort of a detailed world of the John Wick movies. I don't give a shit about any of that. That's fine, and it's fun. It's fun. All of that stuff, the details, the plot, the complications, the interworkings, the multiple characters and timelines and shit. It's all fun, but that's not the important part of these John Wick movies. The John Wick movies are good because they kick ass. And they're all good. The first 3 of them are great. They do get a little talky in terms of the people at the high table and the politics of it, the inner workings, the character-driven shit. It gets a little talky at times. But when it's not talky, the John Wick movies kick ass. There's no question about it. That's the only way to describe them, is that they absolutely kick ass. And the thing about the John Wick movies is that when they first came out, everybody was like, "Hi, Keanu, doing what is this? What is this?" And now, of course, everybody loves them, and they should, because they're great. I do want to mention really quickly that the first John Wick movie, and the first couple of them, were directed by Chad Stahelski and David Leitch. And they co-directed it. Chad Stahelski was kind of the main director on the first one, and then the second one, the guy that helped him out is David Leitch. And David Leitch would go on to direct other movies. And it didn't take long for people to realize who the real talent was among those two directors. Because Chad Stahelski, who was an action choreographer, a stunt man, he started out, he's a martial artist, he's a fight choreographer, and a guy who did stunts for many years, and who choreographed and did the stunt work for a ton of amazing action and exciting movies. And David Leitch did the same kind of thing. And then it didn't take long to realize who the real talent was, because David Leitch, who was the co-director of the first movie, went on. David Leitch, here's just I will give you a few of this guy's credits. David Leitch would go on to direct Bullet Train, was his last movie, which is a poser piece of shit. He would direct Deadpool 2, which is also a piece of shit, much like the first Deadpool. And yes, if you like the Deadpool movies, you're wrong. They suck. They're dumb. They're not funny. They're snarky. And it's bullshit. And Ryan Reynolds is a goddamn annoying son of a bitch. And the Deadpool movies are bullshit. They're bullshit. So this idiot directed Deadpool 2, and he also directed Atomic Blonde, the movie with Charlize Theron, which has one really great extended fight scene, which is in a stairwell, and then another shootout scene, which is actually really good. And the rest of the movie is bullshit. And this idiot, this David Leitch director, who directed the piece of shit Bullet Train and the piece of shit Deadpool movie and the very bad Atomic Blonde, except for a couple of long action sequences, this idiot wasted the talents of James McAvoy. Now, when you put James McAvoy in a movie and you don't use him and you waste him, you're a moron. That's all there is to it. So, but Chad went on to direct the other John Wick movies, and they're great. So the latest John Wick movie is unbelievable. John Wick Chapter 4. Now, if you're a fan of these movies, you know that essentially it started out Keanu wanted to get out of the business, and his wife died, and somebody killed his dog, and then he's one of the greatest hitmen of all time. He's notorious. And so, basically it's him running away from people trying to kill him and killing people who he wants vengeance on. That's it. That's all you need to know. All the high table stuff, the millions of characters and plot points and mythology and all that stuff, and a lot of the dialogue stuff, you don't need to know any of that. Here's the deal. Keanu Reeves plays a master, an unbelievable killer, an incredible hitman who's got insane skills with martial arts, fighting, implements, and incredible shooting and gun skills. That's all you need to know. So basically, people are trying to kill him. He's trying to kill other people. He's trying to survive. That's it. That's all you need to know. And it's Keanu. That's it. So on that level alone, the three John Wick movies provide hours of incredible action entertainment. Great fight scenes, great stunt work, incredible shootouts, great action set pieces. All three of the John Wick movies are great. They are great. Up until now, I liked the second one the best. I thought the first one was great. I thought the third one was really, really good, but there was a little too much of the yapping, Ian McShane going, well, actually, this is the High Council, and you must do this, and Captain Weatherby, and blah, blah, blah. And this goes back to the ancient times, and this person did, I don't give a shit about the timelines or the mythology. There was a little too much yapping in the third John Wick. And in the fourth John Wick, there's some yapping, but it's backed up by the best action sequences I've seen in a movie since Fallout, since Mission Impossible Fallout, and it's on par with Mad Max Fury Road, which is the best action movie made, one of the best action movies ever made, period, in the history of the genre ever. And if you don't think Mad Max Fury Road is one of the greatest movies, and definitely one of the greatest action movies ever made, you're a moron. I'm sorry to tell you. You are as smart as my hair is bad. Okay? If you don't think Fury Road is a great movie, you are my hair. Okay? Which means you're dumb and you look stupid just by, thinking that. So anyway, the new John Wick movie, I'm not going to go into the plot. Here's the deal. There are incredible action sequences that are breathtakingly shot, incredibly well edited, incredibly well choreographed, imaginative. To say that they're imaginative is underselling it. There are hand-to-hand combat scenes, martial arts fight scenes, fist fight scenes, swords, nunchucks. There are Chinese stars and throwing knives. There is hand-to-fist combat. There is foot combat. There are running chase scenes. There are unbelievable amounts of ridiculous amounts of like fights that end with 14 bullets going into someone's head or a knife getting slit, and they go on forever. There are extended action sequences in this movie. One of the first big ones takes place at a hotel in a room full of glass objects, where it's Keanu fighting man after man after man after man after man with bullets, with nunchucks, with knives, with hand-to-hand combat, all beautifully choreographed, breathtakingly paced. Like, you can't catch your breath. Like, after action sequences in John Wick Chapter 4, you're like, and you're just sitting there eating popcorn with dumb hair. That, you know, like the people on screen, you know, Keanu Reeves and all the other great actors and all the other great stuntmen and choreographers are doing incredible work. So there's that, and then there's another long sequence that takes place in a nightclub during a rave, which kind of reminded me of one of the Matrix movies, which is extraordinary. You know, shoot 'em up scenes here and there. There's a scene that takes place on an incredibly long staircase that Keanu has to climb. It's got like 600 stairs that he has to climb up, and there are people trying to keep him from climbing. So there's this extended, ridiculous incredible fight scene that takes place on this stairwell, this outdoor staircase that is breathtaking. And all of the fight scenes and all of the action scenes incorporate all kinds of like hand-to-hand combat, weaponry combat, and shooting. There's a lot of like, you know, grabbing guys. You've seen these movies. And these movies go back to a lot of Asian films that started doing that back in the 80s. And one of the guys who started all of this stuff is John Woo, with movies like Hard Boiled and The Killer. And we're talking 40 years ago, these movies were being made. And it took a long time for you know, America to catch up with the kind of shit that they were doing in Hong Kong back in the 80s. You know, it took a long time. And now we've got a movie that just won Best Picture, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a hack job ripoff of all that great shit that was done in the 80s, done ineptly, because Everything Everywhere All at Once is a fucking inept movie. The action sequences are terrible. The fight choreography is ridiculous. It's badly edited, badly directed. It is as bad an martial arts action movie as you can possibly get, and yet everybody loves it for some fucking reason. And that's why when I was watching John Wick Chapter 4, I just wanted to grab people and go, look, you idiot. All the people who like Everywhere, Everywhere, All at Once, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, whatever the fuck the stupid movie is called, I want to grab and go, look, here, look. All of the fight scenes that you thought were cool and the stuff that you thought was imaginative and creative and original in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, first of all, was derivative and stupid and badly done. And here, watch this, John Wick Chapter 4. For all you people who, for some idiotic reason, like that Everywhere, All at Once bullshit, watch John Wick Chapter 4, because that's how it's done. That's how it's done. You want to bring the action genre from the East. You want to bring that culture and that style of intense, incredible, in-your-face action fight stuff like that. You bring it to them like they did in the John Wick movies, not that stupid Best Picture that just won. So anyway, and then there is an incredible car foo scene, as they're calling it now, because this is this insane scene that takes place in a roundabout in the middle of Paris that involves car chases and dogs and people getting hit by cars while they're fighting kung fu on top of cars that are moving, and the guns are flying. The action sequences in John Wick Chapter 4 are among the best action sequences I've ever seen in a movie ever. It is, without a doubt, the best action movie I've seen since Mission Impossible Fallout and since Fury Road. And it belongs in that upper echelon of one of the greatest action movies ever made, with set piece after action sequence, after fight scene, after car chase, after action sequence that goes on and on and on and on, set piece after set piece after set piece, that continues to be jaw-droppingly exciting, unbelievably imaginative, mind-blowingly exciting, and just intense and action-packed, and you're breathless. It is one of the greatest action movies ever made. John Wick Chapter 4, not only one of the very best movies that you will see all year in 2023, but it is one of the best, most powerful, most unbelievably entertaining, joyful, exciting, ridiculous action movies you will ever see. If you are a fan of action movies and fight sequences and car chases and all of the great shit that makes a really exciting, pulse-pounding action movie, you get it in droves, in spades, more than you will find in any other goddamn movie in years. John Wick Chapter 4 is one of the best action movies I've ever seen, and one of the greatest examples of action, fight, car chase, choreography, filmmaking that you will ever see in your life. John Wick Chapter 4. Amazing. And now I just wanted to talk a little bit about Keanu, because there was a period of time years ago, like 30 some years ago, when everybody was bitching about Keanu. And I think I've cut a video on this before about my defending Keanu Reeves. I was a Keanu Reeves defender when it wasn't popular. You know, back in the day when it wasn't popular to like Keanu. And for many years it wasn't. Every once in a while he'd make a movie that people would go, okay, that's okay. Like people like the Bill and Ted movies. And then when Speed came out, everybody's like, oh, Speed is fine. It wasn't until The Matrix came out. And when The Matrix came out, people started to look at Keanu in kind of a different way. And then he made some other movies that people liked, but it was The Matrix movies in particular that really got people to go, oh, wait. And now everybody loves Keanu. Over the past, 10, 15 years, suddenly Keanu is beloved by everyone. They love him. You know, obviously, the stories about him just as a regular human being are stunning. The kind of stuff that he's done for fans, the kind of stuff that he quietly does to support charities and to give his money to people who need it. And his backstory with the tragedies that have happened in his life, with relationships and relatives and people in his family who have died, and some of the bad things that have happened in his life. And he is one of the nicest and most humble people, reportedly, that you will ever meet. There's video of him giving up his seat on a subway for someone, and he's on a subway. He's Keanu Reeves, and he rides a fucking subway. And there's that, and there's stuff that he does for fans. So the stories, and you see him on talk shows, and he's really funny and really charming. And he's just like, he's a cool dude. And people like him now. People love him. There was a Keanu-sance that happened right around The Matrix, and it carried through for the past, 20-something years. But there was a period of time when everybody hated Keanu Reeves, when he was a joke, when people made fun of him. And I backed this guy. I backed him. I remember in the mid-'90s when I was with the Factory Theater, there were a lot of actors who were like, fuck Keanu. You know what I mean? Because he was making movies, and they all thought he was a terrible actor. And so the theater community that I was hanging out with, they would rag on Keanu all the time. And then I would go, this is even before Speed came out. Like, I was a Keanu fan before Speed came out, and Point Break. Point Break's another one that people love. But when Point Break came out, they made fun of him. And some people still do. You know, yeah, Point Break's really cool. Keanu's hilariously bad in it. No, he's not bad in it. He's good in it. And so I remember having a list of Keanu movies that I could rattle off. The people, we'd get into a bar and we'd start drinking, and the actor friends of mine who worked at the Factory or worked in Chicago storefront theater in 10, 11 theater companies, everybody was like, Keanu Reeves, how can you defend Keanu Reeves as somebody who acted and directed and stuff? It was astonishing to my actor buddies, the Chicago theater scene that I hung out with in the 90s, that I would even consider Keanu Reeves not only a decent actor, but like someone who you can acknowledge as a human. But I back Keanu. I was the president of the Keanu fan club long before it became cool, and long before it was accepted to like Keanu. So all you motherfuckers who are now on the Keanu train, I was the conductor in the late 80s into the early 90s. I will back this guy completely. Let me fly down the Keanu list of movies here really quickly. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Here we go. All right. So let me go back here in time to Keanu. Okay. So let's start in the 80s. Okay. Now he was in Youngblood, the hockey movie with Rob Lowe, where he played a goalie. It's a dumb movie, and he's got a Canadian accent. By the way, he's from Canada, so he's played hockey, he knows hockey, he is hockey. He is motherfucking Keanu Reeves, Canadian actor. But yeah, one of my favorite lines is, he is an animal. He's got a French Canadian accent in that. So he's in Youngblood, and I liked him in Youngblood. Let's see, what else? Youngblood. Okay, River's Edge. What are you going to say about River's Edge? Motherfucker, food eater. What are you going to say about Keanu? Keanu is unbelievable in River's Edge. He's great in that movie. So that's one that I would use. Well, he was in Babes in Toyland. We won't go into that. He was in The Night Before, which is a weird sort of teen, kind of after-hours type teen movie. Not very good. Prince of Pennsylvania, weird little comedy where he played a quirky older teenager. He was good in that. Dangerous Liaisons, we'll skip that one. First of all, he's bad in that movie, but he's one of many things that suck about that movie. Dangerous Liaisons is a bad movie. It's a fucking bad movie. Performances aren't good. The story is badly told. And that Dangerous Liaisons was told again at Valmont by Milos Forman with Colin Firth, and I like that. And Annette Bening, I like that. But the best version of that story, Cruel Intentions. Blow me if you disagree. So Dangerous Liaisons, we'll skip that. But Keanu was the least of the problem with that movie. All right, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, fantastic. We don't even say it's a classic. And again, went on to become a popular thing. Now everybody loves Keanu and everybody loves Bill and Ted. Parenthood, you can't knock it. He's the best thing in Parenthood. Another movie that I don't like, that Ron Howard movie with Steve Martin and whoever the fuck, Rick Moranis and Diane Wheat. I hate that movie. But the best part of that movie and the best scene in the movie is one of the Keanu Reeves scenes. Keanu Reeves is the best thing in Parenthood. I Love You to Death. Him and William Hurt as drug addicted pot smoking killers with Kevin Kline. They're the best thing in that movie. He and Tune In Tomorrow, a really lovely film about old time radio, and he's fantastic in that. Bill and Ted's, the sequel to Bill and Ted, Bogus Journey. Point Break came out in 1991. Also in 1991, My Own Private Idaho, him and River Phoenix, Gus Van Sant's movie. These are 3 movies in one year, 1991, Point Break, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and My Own Private Idaho. How the fuck can you slag on Keanu Reeves at this point? I've just named 10 movies in the time period where everybody was ripping on Keanu. And he's good in them. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Dracula, we'll skip Dracula. He's bad in that. And it's a bad movie. Much Ado About Nothing, not so good. So the period pieces, the movies that are sort of like period pieces or Shakespeare or require him to do some sort of accent or an English accent, that's not his strength. So I will agree with you. Those are not good. Little Buddha. I liked Little Buddha. Then Speed came out and started to change people's opinions because everybody's like, well, we liked him in Point Break. We'll give him a pass in Point Break. But this guy's going to carry a big summer action movie. And he did. And Speed is one of the greatest action movies ever made. And he's phenomenal in it. So you got Speed. You got Johnny Mnemonic. Now, as flawed as that movie is, people have gone back and watched it now and went, oh, you know what? There were a lot of great ideas in that movie. Keanu was on the cutting edge of that shit. All the Asian stuff and the Eastern philosophies and stuff that he was fascinated with and the martial arts studies that he actually does in real life and the culture studies that he does and his love of science fiction and cyberpunk. Listen, Johnny Mnemonic was the very first movie, one of the very first movies to do that, to explore it. Now, it's not perfect. It's got a lot of flaws. It has great stuff in it. But the ideas in Johnny Mnemonic, 6-7 years later, would come to fruition in movies like The Matrix and other movies. And then that subculture, the cyberpunk, influenced by Japanese animation and Eastern influences and culture, that shit became hugely popular in America right when The Matrix came out and after that. But who was on the cutting edge of that? Who was one of the first people to do that kind of movie? Motherfucking Keanu Reeves. Johnny Mnemonic. Walk in the Clouds, a terrific romantic movie. Chain Reaction, action movie shot here in Chicago, directed by Andy Davis. He's good in that. Feeling Minnesota, little bit too 90s, little bit too Tarantino-ish, but he's good in it. Devil's Advocate, I back The Devil's Advocate. I know a lot of people who hate The Devil's Advocate, but I back it. Insane movie, him, Al Pacino. A lot of people hate it. Fuck off. It's a great movie. The Last Time I Committed Suicide, which was about beat writers, he's really good in that. Then The Matrix came out. And then that's when people started to go, oh, wait a minute, Keanu's cool. And of course, The Matrix, one of the greatest movies ever made, one of the most important pieces of cinema in the history of film, and one of the greatest series of movies of all time. And a game changer. The Matrix is one of the biggest game changers in the history of film, as we all know, and I back all of them. I think all 4 Matrix movies are great. So that changed everything for him. The Replacements, which was a football movie that he was in The Gift. He played a piece of shit villain asshole in Sam Raimi's unbelievably underrated The Gift with Cate Blanchett. And he's great in that. Hardball, shot here in Chicago, about the inner city baseball team, and he's fine in that. Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions, Something's Gotta Give, the Diane Keaton, Jack Nicholson romantic comedy. He's the best goddamn thing in that movie. He is the best thing in that movie. He's unbelievable. And he's great in that. Thumbsucker, one of the best performances he's ever given. He plays a dentist in that movie. And he's great in it. Small little art house movie. He's great in that. Let's continue. Constantine, they're making a sequel, and I'm happy about it. Constantine came out, it got slammed. I guess it's not faithful to the original comic book character or the series or whatever. I don't care. But I really love Constantine. I think it's great. Loaded with incredible action scenes, really creepy and scary. Rachel Weisz, Shia LaBeouf, and Peter Stormare, and Tilda Swinton. And it's imaginative and it's great. Again, filled with those kind of action sequences and fight scenes that are so popular in John Wick. He was doing them again before everybody else did them in these goddamn, martial arts, in all these Marvel movies and all these dumbass comic book movies that are out now. They're following the formula that goddamn Keanu brought in and created with Constantine, which was, of course, not, it was originated in different cultures, but he brought it to America. Loved Constantine. Scanner Darkly, one of my favorite Richard Linklater movies in the animated style. Heartbreaking, beautiful movie. He's great in that. The Lake House, a lovely movie where he was reunited with Sandra Bullock. Great romantic movie, and I think he's terrific in that. I back all this. Street Kings, a terrific cop movie about corrupt cops. Really, really good. Okay, the Day the Earth Stood Still, not good. We'll skip that. Henry's Crime is a really interesting movie. Then he went and he started to direct movies and choreograph movies and write movies. Again, really studying Eastern cultures, philosophies, and martial arts and things like that. And all of that stuff, he started to make movies. And he did The Man of Tai Chi. He did 47 Ronin, which he also directed. Extreme Pursuit is another one that he did. And then the John Wick movie. The first John Wick movie came out in 2014. And with all of that stuff that he did in the Tai Chi movie, in 47 Ronin, it all came to fruition, and in Johnny Mnemonic, and in The Matrix, and in Constantine. All of it came to fruition in John Wick, and that's the beginning of the 4 John Wick movies, which are filled with incredible action sequences and unbelievable fights, stuff that American audiences had never seen unless you were into the films of Asia and elsewhere, and so that began the John Wick thing. And then there's Knock Knock, which is Eli Roth's weird movie where a couple of chicks knock on Keanu's door in the middle of the night, and weirdness happens. And then there's Keanu, which is the movie about the movie with Key and Peele and the cat named Keanu, and he's in that, providing his voice. Then there's the Neon Demon, Nicholas Redding, his insane movie that I love. I love the Neon Demon, and Keanu Reeves is unbelievable as like the villain, bad guy, scumbag, abusive motel manager. Neon Demon, fantastic. The Bad Batch with what's his ass, the Momoa, not very good. To the Bone, John Wick Chapter 2. Let's see what else. Destination Wedding, which is with him and Winona. Replica is not so good. John Wick Chapter 3. Toy Story 4. He's Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4. Created one of the most memorable characters in Toy Story history. He's fantastic in that. He's in the one of the SpongeBob movies. The third Bill and Ted movie, Face the Music, Matrix Resurrections, DC League of Super Pets. He did the voice of Batman in that, and he was brilliant in that. And that brings us to John Wick Chapter 4. So right around the Matrix, people started to accept him, and there was a Keanu renaissance. And then once the John Wick movies came out, and everybody suddenly was like on the bandwagon. Well, I'll tell you something. I started the Keanu Reeves bandwagon. I just want that known. I am the one who started the Keanu Reeves bandwagon. So, you're welcome. But anyway, Keanu Reeves rules. We're not going to argue about that anymore. When he started to rule actually happened much, much earlier than most people acknowledge. Because I think he ruled right out of the gate. But, here's what the deal is. John Wick Chapter 4 opens on Friday the 24th. It is one of the best action movies I've ever seen in my life. It is filled with jaw-droppingly creative, exciting, adrenaline-pumping fight scenes, action scenes, car chases, hand-to-hand combat, shootouts. It's one of the best action movies you will ever see in your life. It is the best of the 4 John Wick movies, and that's saying a lot because those movies are all great, and it's by far the best. It's 2 hours and 48 minutes long, so it's almost 3 hours long. It goes by like that. It feels like it is 20 minutes long. Action set piece after action set piece after action set piece, topping to the point where you are like, I cannot believe what I've just seen. Did that really happen on top of that car? Did that really happen in this moving vehicle? Did that fight scene really happen? Did he really shoot this? Did he really do that? Did he fall down 47 flights of stairs? Did that really happen? You will be stunned and excited. It is one of the most breathtakingly entertaining action movies I've ever seen in my life, and you have to see it on a Saturday night in a crowded theater with a bunch of other people on the biggest screen possible. It's playing in IMAX, it's playing in Dolby. And if you watch it at home, it's not available. It's only in theaters. So you actually have to go out and actually go see a movie. It's stunning, isn't it? But this movie is best seen on a Friday night in a packed theater with a bunch of excited people in the biggest screen possible. One of the best action movies you will ever see in your life, John Wick Chapter 4. My favorite movie so far this year. It's only March, but it's definitely my favorite movie that I've seen so far this year. And it is the best of the series and one of the greatest action movies you'll ever see. And also, it's a tribute to a specific director, because the last hour of this movie is structured and taken directly from one of the greatest action movies of all time. I won't give it away. Okay, you know what? If you don't want to hear what movie the John Wick becomes a tribute to and what director they copy from and tribute, so turn it off right now. So thank you, thank you for watching, and donate to my Patreon page, and thank you very much. If you want to stick around, and I will tell you what movie and what director they pay blatant tribute to in John Wick Chapter 4. So hold on a second. Give these a couple of minutes. Bye. See ya. I don't want to ruin the movie for you. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Turn it off if you don't want to know what director and what movie they pay tribute to, that they do an homage to. Okay? Turn it on. Are you done? Are you gone? Okay, they're all gone. So, with an hour left in the movie, it becomes The Warriors. John Wick Chapter 4 becomes The Warriors. It becomes an absolute tribute to Walter Hill, who is one of the landmark and greatest action film directors that has ever lived, who is responsible for some of the best action movies of all time, including The Warriors and Streets of Fire and Southern Comfort and The Driver and 48 Hours and Extreme Prejudice. And I could go on and on, The Long Riders and Wild Bill. He is one of the greatest American filmmakers ever, and one of the most important, most effective, and genius action movie directors of all time. There wouldn't be an action genre in America at this point without motherfucking Walter Hill. And during the last hour of this movie, it becomes The Warriors. All the way down to the DJ saying, "All right, boppers," and just the lips of the DJ, all the way down to, because there's a whole bunch of assassins who are trying to kill Keanu, just like there were a whole bunch of gangbangers and gang members who were trying to kill the Warriors as he was trying to get somewhere. So Keanu is trying to get to a place, and a whole bunch of assassins are trying to kill him, and it's all narrated by an unseen African-American female DJ whose lips are on the microphone, who's like basically doing, "All right, boppers," from here. "Okay, boppers, who's ready to kill John Wick?" And then giving you updates on whether or not the assassins got him and when they didn't, where he's going next, all punctuated by music, just like in The Warriors. And when it happens, when she gets to the microphone, the first song they play is "Nowhere to Run," which is the very first song that the DJ in The Warriors plays when she starts to narrate what's happening in The Warriors. So, not only is it one of the greatest action movies of all time, but it pays blatant and wonderful and incredible detailed tribute to